The ratio is real. Out of Geeks and Gamers, Grace Randolph is burning her brand to the ground. This is by Marvin Montanaro. It says, Grace Randolph gets ratioed after claiming Tourette's advocate created the opportunity for attacks against her.
I hadn't heard this angle. This is great.
Grace! Here we go again. Grace Randolph is facing significant backlash after comments made during a recent Beyond the Trailer live stream where critics say she shifted blame onto Tourette's advocate John Davidson for online fallout surrounding the BAFTA's controversy. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a man who was there to receive an award because he has Tourette's. He advocates for people who have Tourette's. Tourette's means that they have tics and they can't control them. They say things they have no control over. It means nothing other than it's part of the disability. And he was there to receive an award for advocating for people with Tourette's. And if you'd watched the documentary that was getting the awards, this was the moment. This was the biggest thing in his lifetime since he met the Queen. Where, by the way, when he met the Queen, he said, F the Queen. And she handled it with grace because she knew, unlike Grace, that that's what Tourette's does. Grace Randolph says Tourette's means no filter, which means this man thought it despicable. The BAFTAs are out here making fools of themselves in the entertainment industry. Folks, what if I tell you it gets worse? This guy on the left, he was thrown under the bus because they censored everything. This was a 2-hour delay. They censored everything he said, which would have shown that he was simply a man with Tourette's. They censored everything except when he yelled out the bad thing you can't yell out to these two gentlemen on the right, and I bet you can imagine what he said. Folks, they censored everything except that which made it seem, well, maybe this is for ratings. It says during the event, Davidson experienced an uncontrollable verbal tic that forced him to shout a racial slur. Grace Randolph has since lambasted Davidson. She also apparently is angry at people who will not stand out of their wheelchairs when it's time to stand and applaud somebody, claiming publicly that Tourette simply means no filter and that Davidson shouted their slur because he was thinking it. If Grace ever gave a high five to Michael Fox, I'm sure if he could not connect with the high five, she would also disparage him. She says, and this is why John Davidson's uncontrollable, but unfortunately action and intentional lack of apology for using that word on a global stage is an issue. Now you've got toxic channels like this one. Now she's going after Nerdrotic. You can't stop her. She is on a roll. But perhaps, folks, this is the best. Perhaps this is the best. Stephanie, at My Nerd Home, Stephanie, that's her real name. Stephanie says this, or plays this clip from Grace. Folks, here is the fall from Grace for Grace.
I would think that Mr. Davidson would feel just horrible that he made anyone feel bad. I don't understand why he doesn't. Although I think he's had a really hard life.
What?
Dig a little deeper. Why don't you dig a little deeper?
This is, at this point, we need to bring back the 80s terms, no doy.
I think what Grace is suggesting here is that if you have an uncontrollable tic, you need to stick somewhere else. Don't be out in public. Don't bother her.
Well, wait, now, isn't that ableism? There's or bigotry? I mean, we've got a lot of words for this kind of dumbness.
Here's the problem for Grace, guys. Vash, she is in a corner. She has said something so stupid that there is no defending it. And now that we know that the whole thing was manipulated, like this, if he had just yelled this one thing at this one time, which was the story that was presented originally, then we can kind of see why some people would be confused about this. However, given the fact that the awards show apparently manipulated this, either willingly or unwillingly, given that they only uncensored this one moment, which has driven all of this crazy zaniness, and the liberal women who are coming out of the woodworks to protect others from this poor disabled man. Vash, Grace is trying to defend the indefensible. And whereas you can dig in your heels and fight like mad online with other personalities, even when you're utterly wrong, it's really hard to win against a disabled man who was there to receive an award for advocating for the very disability that you're now offended by. And I don't think she's figured out that she's losing horrifically, and there's no way out of this one. There is literally no way to get out of this other than to say, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I got that one wrong. There's no way out of this, Vash.
She got to dig in the high heels right in there, and she is not moving from this position. I think it's advisable for sure, but it's so interesting because to any rational person, they'd be like, hey, you know what? What he said wasn't cool, obviously, but what's more important is intent, right? If you intend to say that, there terrible. But if you don't, and if you can't control it, well, that's a whole different story. She recognizes that, so what'd she say right there? Oh, well, I'm sure he would feel terrible if he made anybody at the event feel badly. Why he doesn't? Don't know. She's implying that he intended to do this now. Because she's got to move it in order to pivot herself out of this, and nobody's buying it, that's for sure.
No, this is not going well for Grace, and I'll show this to everybody. Let me put this up on the screen, Vash. Let's go to the comment section of this live stream she did, where she talked about this, and she said these horrible, awful, terrible things, where she basically said that this man had put her in danger because it's opened the floodgates for hatred towards her, as opposed to her own stupidity. She says, first of all, she's pinned this one. It's being reported that John Davidson has reached out to Warner Brothers to apologize to Jordan, Lindo, and the Centers team. Great news. We can all start to move forward.
What?
Because Grace is part of this. That's by the way, that's an uncorroborated story. So she's just reaching for anything. Here we go. Ignorance is a bigger evil in this world. It says, this person is an absolute moron. Tourette's is a condition that causes involuntary speech when they don't even register until they say it, as opposed to Randolph's condition where the speech is controlled, but there isn't any brain activity guiding it. Grace, if you're going to comment on disability, do some research first. Apparently she thought Scotland is not part of the UK.
What?
Grace says the U.S. has no idea about Tourette's. I'm not from the U.S., but funnily enough, the way I learned about Tourette's was by watching American shows. WTF, you don't know about Tourette's. Pure stupidity. My education. Tourette's is well known. Not a fair discussion if one isn't familiar with this. Oh my gosh.
I can see why she wants to move
IQ of
on.
a crayon, Vash. They're calling it.
She really wants to move on. She says we. No, she means I. I can move on from this. Is basically what she's saying. Otherwise, she's giving her great seal of approval there.
There's a great psychological lesson to be learned here. You can dig in your heels and you can decide, I am never going to mediate. I am never going to I'm never going to back off my position. And that's a narcissistic place you can be. Yeah. And there is a place online where you can do that. You can choose to do that.
Blue Sky.
You will find that corner, that brick wall, that tiger that you cannot, that doesn't work anymore. And Lauren, Grace seems to not have figured out yet that her brand is damaged beyond repair until she just says, I screwed up. I didn't know anything about this. I messed up.
I hate to say this, but I disagree. Now, what I would say about this situation is that of the two people, Grace and Mr. Is it Donaldson? Was that his name? Davidson. I'm sorry, Mr. Davidson. One of them has an excuse for saying something stupid, and it's the man who was invited to be there and be the recipient of an award for his groundbreaking work in making this film that was to raise awareness for this unfortunate disability. Grace has no such excuse. But the disagreement part that I have with you comes from you saying that her brand is damaged irreparably. I think she's going to take a lot of flack and a lot of fire that is probably justified. But the folks who follow Grace are the ones that hold this position, and they're also not going to budge an inch. The other part of gentle pushback that I would give you is that I'm not comfortable saying that if the whole world is against you and you have a differing opinion that you're obviously wrong and everybody else is right. If you are standing on something on principle and you are right, stand your ground. But if that's the position that she believes that she holds, she should probably keep her mouth shut about it, because otherwise, you are just going to keep digging that hole for yourself. Now, I'm not saying I agree with her in any way.
The reason, Lauren, that I think that this is actually brand damage to the point that it's going to hurt her, there's nobody on the left or right defending this. And listen, mature people, grown-ups, can actually handle the idea of, I bet that was offensive to those guys, especially if they didn't know why that was being yelled at them. That seems unlikely now, given what we've learned about how the show was going the rest of the way, and that, it was censored, all the rest of the stuff for TV. However, grown-ups could also say, I bet it was difficult for him that he has this uncontrollable situation and that this happens. That must be very uncomfortable for the things that you should never yell to involuntarily be yelled at the worst possible times. That must be a horrible thing. And right. Everybody who has this has it. Grace has alienated every possible person, because who is it that you can't go after? You can't go after a disabled person for their disability.
this is the part that I disagree with you on, though.
You're gonna make me doubt the decency of humanity right now. I know what you're up to, Lauren.
I'm not trying to, but it's like, look, here's another way to put it. I think you would agree that Grace does have followers. She does have people that have followed her for years, because otherwise she wouldn't still be doing this. They've had ample opportunity to see who Grace is throughout those years, and they're still following her.
I think this is the worst, though. I think let me go. Okay, we'll continue the conversation. Let's play the thing that she's getting the most heat over. Here it is, and we're going to play very short clips from this. Okay, folks. But here is Grace from Geeks and Gamers. This is Grace, the worst thing that people are taking umbrage with.
I feel like there would be bad actors. I just feel it's an extremely bad situation. And I worry, as a woman, not only in solidarity with other groups, but for women as well, that what kind of language does this let in? You know, I was tweeting about it earlier today.
As a woman.
Come on, Lauren. Go for it, Lauren. Keep that argument going, buddy.
No, I'm just
She's
telling
afraid
you,
of the disabled man, Lauren.
Well, look, here. Let's
She's
put up
the
a super
victim.
Chat. Let's put up a super chat that just came in from Callegria, because he's addressing what I'm saying here.
$5. Grace is not broken. Stop giving her that much empathy. She is just a hateful, selfish snob. Start treating her as the horrible person she is.
I want to make clear, I'm not giving her any empathy whatsoever. I'm not saying she's broken. I'm saying she's stupid. And I'm saying the people that follow her are stupid. And so I don't think it's possible, actually, to underestimate stupidity. That's all I'm saying.
Culture, you've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
You're a YouTube expert. What happens here when you actually go after a disabled person like this and you make yourself the victim? Like, what does this do long term for her channel, for the subscribers?
This I agree with you. She has damaged her brand. She has removed a lot of credibility. Her audience has turned against her. She doubled up on viewership for her like normal stream from like 16,000. She doubled that up with the one that was very controversial. But sticking to this position that she's soundly like been defeated on is a bad idea, and it's going to hurt her brand long term. She's been the word I think is ratioed across the board.
4.8 thousand dislikes to 1.5 thousand likes.
Yeah, and that continued into today's live stream that she did. Beyond the Trailer kind of is her bread and butter. And if you have like the audience size that she has and you're pulling the numbers she does, and those numbers have been going down for a long time with these streams, she's not pulling enough of a percentage for me to, think that she's, gaining the kind of popularity that she would enjoy. This one gained her ground, but at the same time, it's much like the conversation that our friend Marvin was having that I buy into. It's like this provocative opinion was a way of gaining ground as far as viewership goes, the number of views. And as cynical as that sounds, it seems to be the truth, because nobody would be talking about the BAFTAs without this level of controversy. And nobody would
cares about the BAFTAs. I mean, nobody.
But nobody would be talking about Grace and her impact on the conversation without this particular controversy.
All right, let's talk about that then, because you're exactly right in terms of the numbers going down. I did the research on this.
Yeah.
And when I say this, folks, I want you to understand something. Everything can change tomorrow.
Yeah.
YouTube can ban, whoever they want to ban. They can, things can go up, they can go down. You can take off. Something happens and you lose all your momentum. I'm not trying to make any kind of declaration for the future. But Grace has a channel that was just shy of 1 million subscribers. Okay? We've been doing this now for 3 years. And we've got, 1/5 of her subscribers? And yet we triple to quadruple her viewership. So here's the thing, guys. But what she's hanging on to, what Grace is hanging on to, advertisers and sponsorships, I believe, people who think she's a safe brand. And this is where you get into real dangerous territory. How many more of those really prestigious interviews and discussions and roundtables and conferences and cons is she going to be invited to if she does stuff like this, and if she can't come to the middle to some degree and say, whoops, I messed up? That's where the money loss can be here. That's where it could be.
I'd almost be willing to put another bet down. It's like, what do you think the likelihood is of her coming out and making some kind of mea culpa?
I'm going to tell you right now, that's where the smart money is. After doing this for 6 years, when I make a mistake or I report inaccurate information, the best play I can make is the very next opportunity is to correct that.
I agree with you. That's the best play. I'm asking, what do you think the likelihood is that she is going to do it?
Here's what I think they should do. She needs to go. Gina Carano was asked to do this, but that was not in Gina's favor. This time it is. Grace Randolph should do a struggle session.
Oh.
With 100 individuals suffering from Tourette's. Grace Randolph in a room with 100 people. Lord, it'll get 1 billion views. She will skyrocket her. She'll double her. She'll have 2 million subscribers in 24 hours if she'll just do a struggle session with 100 Tourette's individuals in a locked room. We'll get Mr. Beast to do all of the effects, but lock the doors and leave her in there.
Sir, I like the cut of your jib, and I believe that comment is worth a simultaneous sip.
I got in trouble one time for telling my wife that I like the cut of her jib. She didn't understand that and didn't go well. Simultaneous sip. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, Vash.
That's good on the voice.
Vash, you're a little slow to the water. I'll give you a second. Vash, 100 Tourette sufferers in a room with Grace Randolph. You're good with that?
Yeah. I think that's the next BAFTA presentation, actually.
Who could be against it? That's entertainment. Helping Hollywood produce a product that you want to consume. That's what we do each and every day, folks. And this time, it's time to, say goodbye. We know, but don't cry. No, for we will have more videos on the way. We love to bring those videos and that information. And by the way, if you'd like even more, consider going to the Patreon page. It's www.patreon.com/WDW Pro. It's where we put out stuff exclusively there that we simply can't put out in other places for whatever reason, be it because it's too spicy or because, perhaps we're working to corroborate it. But you can find out things early and first over there. Folks, we surely have had a great time spending time with you. Consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
There are men who go to sea to find fortune. Men who go to sea to lose themselves. I went to sea to find honor. Since I was a boy, I was forged in discipline, faith, duty. They called me loyal. They called me righteous. They called me useful. But the sea does not care what a man is called. Only what he becomes when the world takes everything from him. I prayed for peace, and the world answered with only death. I have seen honor used as a mask, and sin used as a shelter. The devil walks plainly in this world without shame or fear. And now the ocean carries whispers of men who believe they can burn faith out of this world. They are wrong. My name is Jonathan Reed. My story has only just begun.